Hi, I'm Vince Weston, and this is my first update on the Wright Brothers flyer. So we'll get right into it. I want to thank my unmentioned benefactor Tommy, who I won't name because of possible copyright, who sent me a soft copy, Tommy, of the tips on building dioramas. It's been pretty helpful. There's some pretty good tips in here about detailing the flyer itself, so it's nice that they've added this to the thing. One thing I did want to bring up right off the bat, I've done several of these, and I'll see if I can show a couple of them. One thing I found kind of odd was him pointing out putting in the dot, and I noted as one of my nuts. The dot is like 1/64th of an inch. I don't know how he created that, but it's awful small. I did put some steel on the nubs and kind of put them in there where the God, what are those things called? I'll think of it in a minute. Anyway, I did do that. I've also drilled out the piece here. Some of the other stuff I didn't do was like put the new cap on. I thought the one that was there for the gas tank was sufficient. One of the crazy things that makes this kind of tedious is painting. There's a lot of little things to paint, one of which is the sole plate for the spars that come down are basically either gunmetal or sort of a flat black. I used gunmetal, and I'll show you that in a minute. There's 39 of these things, so it takes some time. Let's see, anything else in here? I'm probably going to do the spinning propeller, because I think that's a pretty neat option, and since I have the stand and I'm not really building a diorama, even if I was doing the diorama, I probably would want to opt for the spinning propellers option here. So I'm going to try and get into that a little bit. Once again, I can't use my Wilbur because this arm is just badly formed. So anyway, that's a couple of things from this piece. The final page does go into how to build the diorama, but the first 3 pages seem to help more with building the actual kit. So pretty good addition. I was glad that I was able to get my hands on a soft copy and print it out for myself. And this is about as far as I've gotten so far. Like I said, there's a lot of tedious painting. Here, once again, all these have to be done, and of course they're on the bottom of the upper wing and also on the canard. You might be able to see the darkness there. So it takes some time. So far, none of this is actually glued together, but I've finished Orville. I'll give you a little close-up of him if I can hang on to him. I decided to go with gray pants because that was what I saw in the Smithsonian pictures. I haven't painted his underside, but I painted the jacket black, flat black, highlighted it a little bit, his white shirt. I got a little spot there. Anyway, I'll fix that later. And, you know, gave him the dark gray slacks that I thought looked pretty good. They look a little bit better live than they do on the camera from what I can see. But he came out pretty good. I've gotten the engine complete. That was step 1, first step. That was pretty easy. I've found out after I had painted it steel that it actually was more of a flat black, and I kind of put flat black on it. I'll see if I can get a little closer with this. So I can make it look a little better with the steel chain drive on the front. This isn't attached yet. I've also worked on the sprockets. In the tips, he suggests cutting out notches along the top because they were bicycle wheels. I don't know if you can see that too much from that. Let's see if I can take his close-up. And maybe you can see this a little better. He talks about carving these notches into it. Hopefully that shows up on camera. All around the sprockets, or on the chains. So I've done that so far. The other piece I did was he talks about putting half round on the back because the back is actually flat. I didn't have any half round, so I took round that I had and sanded it down. So I'll show you that. Since I want to take this apart a little bit anyway. And he won't come off. There we are. So anyway, on this part on the back, hopefully this is showing up a little bit and not completely shadowed. Maybe my palm better. Anyway, I put round half rounds where the chains go through on all these spots to give it a full round texture of the safety bars that they've put in here. In the kit they only give you the front half, so I did the back half. One of the other things I noticed, and I don't know how well this is going to show up on camera, was, and I've probably told Tommy about this, and hopefully this will focus in. I don't know, come on little camera, can you do it? I don't know if that's going to focus really well, but this part right here where my thumb is basically, in the kit, is just basically a lump, and that's actually the magneto. So I drilled through with a 1/16 drill bit and then carved down somewhat and just painted it silver or steel and flat black. The other thing I did, good thing these things aren't glued in, was there's actually the magneto runner there. I added that on, and it runs off the flywheel of the engine. So those two things come pretty close. You know, you're not going to be able to tell the difference once I get it together. But I thought it was kind of a neat detail. I also had to add these little wooden spars. Oops, there we are. Little wooden spars here. I should probably use something a little bit pointier than my finger. There, maybe this will help. It's probably the same color. But right here, there were two wood spars holding the magneto in place. So between the two pieces. So I've put those in place also. He talks about oil stains and gas stains, so I put a couple of dots in there myself to show off some of the gunk and crud that was probably dripping out of the engine. Let's see, of course I'm sure this isn't going to show up as well as it does in the booklet, but I did take the saddle harness, which actually is supposed to shift back and forth, and I noticed this side piece here on both sides, over there and there, were actually steel, not wood. So they've been drilled through and painted steel. So that's a couple of the details there. One of the other things I've done, and I'm getting started on, was the gas tank. The gas tank was actually a gravity feed for the flyer, and I've added a wire, and that'll represent the hose that goes over to the engine to feed it with the gas. I've used a rusty brown, I guess it's called. Looked kind of like rubber tubing to me, so I thought that was good enough. Of course it's way too long at this point, but since it's got to hang and drip and whatever, I figured I'd just leave it long for now, and I can always cut it off when I get there. On the other side is the radiator, and what I've done here, there is a piece that was there. It was on plastic, but it was flat on one side and didn't really represent tubes or yeah, I guess tubes will do. Hoses very well. So I took some black wire that I have that was 20 gauge, and I've made my own. I used the kit piece from my own. The other thing I've done that's very tedious and long taking is I've started to paint, dry brush all the spars, because I thought what I've seen, the color is a little bit more yellow than that tan. So I've gotten the front and rear done of those. And one of the things I did was I started putting together the canard. I still have to paint the wood in this, but I wanted to make sure I had the pieces fitting. And then I've also started the back tail. These upright pieces will get cut out. Oops, I'm not on camera. That go this way. They get removed, and it just leaves the cross members front and back. So that's basically where I'm up to. If you're following along with your kit instructions, pretty much got step 1 done, except everything isn't glued together yet. I'll probably do that shortly. Step 2 is got most of this other pieces together. So I still have to do this top piece of gluing things together. And step 3, I'm well into now. I've got this pretty much set up for the canard, and everything's pretty much up to point. I still have to paint the gauges, and then I can put the spars together for the main body. And then we'll be on to step 4, which is mostly starting to do the rigging. And then putting several more of the pieces together. So I got a little bored with painting and doing all this tedious stuff, so that's why I started putting some of these things together. And that's about where I'm at. So I'm, I guess, out of 9 steps, maybe 2.5. Though I've got several prepared already for, getting them finished. And that's about it. One of the things I'd like to do was, Tommy, let me turn off these lights. Tommy had sent me a message or a comment, and had said that he had mentioned my mention of having about 800 kits. So I figured I'd give him a little show of that. So let me turn out some of these lights, and we'll go over to my stash, and I'll give you a quick look while I'm at it. Hope you took your Dramamine, because I'm going to be spinning a little bit here. So here we go. Okay. I have basically, I'm in an illegal basement here, and my dungeon. And I've used some things to build up the closet. As you can kind of see, it's floor to ceiling stuffed. Also back here, this closet actually L's back deep. So there's a whole bunch of stuff back in that darkness that you can't quite see. But as you can see, that side is floor to ceiling. Mostly there's aircraft on that side. I've got a lot of my cars here, a lot of old stuff, and then some of the newer stuff, I guess. and a couple of old cars going all the way up there. And then over here on this side is stuffed floor to ceiling with more kits and a couple of cases. Now to give you a real Dramamine rush, we'll spin around this way, and here's most of the rest of it is in boxes, because I couldn't figure out any other, I didn't have shelves for over here, so I just left them in boxes, and that pretty much goes to the ceiling there. So that gives you a quick look at my stash and a real fast look at the dungeon that I work in. So what else can I say? I'll scoodles on back. There's the work area. So that's about it. And Tommy, that's the little show for you as to how you store 800 kits. So I guess I'll say see you later and have fun. Well, stay out of trouble. Bye.